And now we'll head over to Sunapee to hear about the latest about the finances being considered for the school.
There's three components to the project. So we have building the new elementary school on the soccer field, fixing the boilers and the long-running HVAC problems, so it's a significant investment in the middle high school. And then, because we built on the soccer and the softball field, is putting a new softball field and a new soccer field at the top of the hill as you enter town. Land to find to build a school was challenging, even more so to find for field space. So the whole project, the three elements, is $25.6 million pre-bond estimate. We got a quote from the bond bank for a 15-year note, and that would be $2.07 per thousand of the assessed value of the house. So for $300,000 house, it would be about $621. There's lots of variables with the tax impact. We are choosing to present to the community the shortest bond length to greatly reduce the interest, which greatly reduces the overall cost of the project. There have been some projects that have gotten a much lower than the 3.5 that we're aware of this year. We're hopeful that would be the case for us, but we run 100% transparency and follow the rules. The bond bank quoted the 3.5 for 15. That's what we're bringing to the community. So we've talked several times in the public meetings about potential, once the bond passes, then the board can decide on the financing. We can't decide it ahead of time. But we're very interested in looking at the potential to have some or all of the money in local banks, a more traditional loan. With good budgeting, we can take surplus and put it on the principal, further reducing the payment time and the interest. So number that everybody needs to consider when they enter the voting booth is, if the project is to pass, the estimate before final pricing and all the quoting that would come after is $2.07 per thousand. The prior two plans didn't go. What happens if this one doesn't go? What's next? Because in order for us to keep this building in use, it's going to be several $1 million at a minimum. We have a quote to bring the whole thing up to code of $18 million. But it's occupied with students. There's no place else for them to be. So we'd have to do maybe a few $1 million a year for several years. That might get us to be closer to code, but it's not going to address the education space shortcomings. There's the petition warrant article to go to K-8, which would mean choice. And where we are, there's Claremont, Newport, Kearsarge, Lebanon. There's not super obvious choices for a whole array within the school choice movement. So the K-8 conversation and school choice has all kinds of ramifications. Talking to some of the realtors, and this is where I'm not a realtor, I'm not an expert, I'm just passing on what I've been told, somewhere between 12 and 20% of a home value. So if you think about a $300,000 house, 621, I think it comes to like $13,000 over the life of the loan. If you have a $300,000 house, it loses 20% of sale value and it's harder to sell. I'd rather pay the 13. It's only an asset when you go to sell it. So I'm coming in as a new person in town, 4.5 years, and I see it only as the school. We have many families here that their parents and their grandparents went to this school. So I've had many personal challenges, like in a one-on-one quiet environment, say, okay, it was fine when my dad went here. It was fine when my adult sons went here. Why isn't it fine now? And so it's an interesting challenge for the board to say, okay, here is what's required for our education. Here are the statutes around safety, air quality, space, all of those other things. The board can't react to multi-generational, it's been okay. And so it's been an interesting balance to say, we think that's awesome that 3 generations of your family went to the same school, and when it looked just like this, we have to be thinking ahead for being able to use the building in a few years and be able to meet the education needs and safety and air quality and everything else.
It seems like a very important consideration for the residents of Sunapee.